Throughout history, secret knowledge has been handed down, sharing truths about reality and our role in it. Among these are the 7 Hermetic principles, ancient rules believed to control the universe, providing us a way to better understand it. But what if these principles aren't just found in obscure books? What if they are right in front of us, also present in the teachings of one of history's most respected spiritual leaders, Jesus of Nazareth? In this study, we'll go beyond the usual interpretations. We'll examine Jesus' words not only as moral teachings, but as expressions of universal laws, enduring truths that connect the physical and the spiritual. Could it be that the knowledge of Hermeticism and Christ's message are fundamentally the same? Join us as we examine the 7 Hermetic principles through Jesus' teachings. Hermeticism is a mystical tradition based on the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus. It believes that the universe operates under 7 basic principles, forces that affect everything from the stars' movements to our own thoughts. These principles help us understand the cosmos and our role as spiritual beings in the physical world. For centuries, people seeking wisdom have turned to Hermeticism to solve life's mysteries. Although Hermeticism might seem obscure, its ideas are familiar. Nearly 2,000 years ago, in a small part of the Roman Empire, a teacher appeared who would change spiritual thinking forever. Jesus of Nazareth spoke about divine love, the soul's nature, and how the kingdom of heaven works. His words attracted many, offering deep wisdom through stories and symbols. At first, these 2 traditions might appear different, one from ancient Egypt and Greece, the other from Judea, but underneath, they share a common harmony. Both highlight universal truths and principles that go beyond time, culture, and religion. Could it be that Jesus, in his own way, was sharing the same eternal laws that Hermeticism values? In Christ's teachings, do we see similarities with Hermetic wisdom? As we examine the 7 Hermetic principles, we'll see how they appear in Jesus' words and how these teachings lead us to greater understanding. The first Hermetic principle is mentalism, the idea that everything begins in the mind and the universe is a mental creation. Simply put, everything that exists starts from consciousness. The physical world, its governing forces, and even our thoughts are all parts of one infinite mind. This principle shows that reality is shaped by how we perceive, think, and are aware. Long before this principle was written, Jesus talked about the mind and heart's power. Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he," a profound teaching that Jesus also echoed. Here, we see the same idea. Our thoughts are active forces that shape our reality. What we focus on in our minds decides who we become and how we see the world. Jesus often encouraged his followers to change their inner selves, stressing that real change starts from within. His message was clear. The outside world reflects our inner state. This matches the Hermetic idea that the universe is mental, created by thought, intention, and belief. When Jesus said, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move mountains," Matthew 17:20, he highlighted the power of belief, how the mind, aligned with divine purpose, can affect the physical world. Through focused thought and strong faith, we access the universe's creative force. In this way, Jesus' teachings are not just about morals, they are about controlling the mind. Through faith and clear intention, we unlock our consciousness's true power. As we think, so we become. The universe responds to the mind's power. Mentalism teaches us that the mind is the foundation of all creation, and Jesus encourages us to use this power wisely, aligning our thoughts with love, faith, and higher purpose. The second Hermetic principle is correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. This principle shows how everything is connected, teaching us that the small reflects the large, and the spiritual mirrors the physical. What happens in the heavens is mirrored on earth, and what occurs within us is shown in the world around us. Jesus spoke about this deep connection. In Luke 17:21, he said, "The kingdom of God is within you." Here Jesus points to the same truth Hermeticism teaches. The divine isn't far away or separate from us. It exists within us. The universe itself reflects our inner world. The kingdom of heaven isn't just a place beyond the stars, but a state of being we can reach through spiritual awareness. Just as the Hermetic principle states that the higher realms reflect the lower, Jesus calls us to look within, to find that the sacred and eternal are part of us. When Jesus performed miracles, he showed the principle of correspondence in action. His ability to heal the sick, calm the storm, and even raise the dead weren't acts of defying nature, but aligning with it. Jesus knew that the spiritual laws, faith, intention, and divine power could work together with the physical world. As above, so below was shown in every act of love and healing he did. Just as Jesus taught, what is within us affects the world around us. Our thoughts, emotions, and spiritual states spread out, shaping the physical reality we live in. The divine plan of creation is part of every aspect of our existence, and through this principle, we are reminded that we are both creators and reflections of the universe. The principle of correspondence asks us to see that the outer world mirrors our inner state. Jesus invites us to look inside to build the kingdom of heaven within us, so our external lives align with the divine order. The third Hermetic principle is vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. This principle means that everything in the universe, from the smallest particle to the largest star, is always in motion. Even what looks solid is vibrating at the molecular level. This energy flow moves through all creation, shaping reality's structure. Jesus also understood the power of vibration, though he didn't use these words. His actions and words show a deep awareness of energy movement. When Jesus calmed the storm in Mark 4:39, he didn't just quiet the physical winds and waves. He brought balance to the underlying energy. "Peace, be still," he said, and the chaotic vibrations of the storm became completely calm. His words carried a vibration strong enough to change nature itself. Jesus' miracles were not just acts of divine intervention, but showed the principle that all things vibrate at different speeds. When Jesus healed the sick, he raised their vibrational state. He knew that illness, pain, and suffering come from lower vibrations, and by filling them with higher frequencies of love, compassion, and faith, he could restore balance and health. In John 11:43, when Jesus called Lazarus from the tomb, he used the power of his voice, his very words, to bring life back into a body that had stopped moving. "Lazarus, come forth." These were not just words. They were vibrations filled with divine energy, strong enough to reverse the lowest vibration, death. The principle of vibration shows that our words, thoughts, and emotions are not inactive. They are powerful forces carrying energy. Jesus demonstrated how faith, spoken intention, and focused thought can change reality's very fabric. When he taught his followers that faith could move mountains, he was showing us that by aligning with the right frequency, through belief, love, and divine purpose, we can affect the world around us. The universe is full of vibration, and Jesus calls us to tune ourselves to the higher frequencies of love, peace, and faith. When we do, we not only change ourselves, but also the world around us, taking part in creation's divine rhythm. The fourth Hermetic principle is polarity. Everything has two poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. This principle teaches that opposites aren't truly separate, but are different levels of the same thing. White and dark, hot and cold, joy and sorrow, all are part of the same spectrum, existing only in relation to each other. Without one, the other couldn't be known. Jesus often spoke about these opposites and their deeper spiritual meanings. His teachings were full of paradoxes that showed the unity hidden within duality. In Matthew 19:30, he said, "The last shall be first, and the first last." This is more than a moral lesson. It expresses the Hermetic principle of polarity. What seems like opposites, last and first, high and low, are part of the same divine cycle, constantly changing into one another. Throughout his ministry, Jesus taught that humility leads to greatness, that life comes from death, and that strength is found in weakness. These teachings aren't contradictions, but understandings of polarity's truth. Just as light can't exist without darkness, greatness can't exist without experiencing humility. Jesus showed us that accepting life's extremes, the highs and the lows, leads to spiritual completeness. In Luke 9:24, Jesus says, "For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for my sake will save it." This deep statement is another example of polarity. To truly live, one must accept death, the death of the ego, the death of attachment to the material world. Through this sacrifice, we find true life, eternal and unshakable. The Hermetic principle of polarity reminds us that every experience, whether joyful or painful, includes its opposite. It is by accepting both sides of the spectrum that we find balance and move beyond the illusion of separation. Jesus invited his followers to see beyond the surface of duality and to recognize the unity behind it. In the end, the opposites we face in life aren't in conflict. They are in harmony, constantly flowing into one another as part of the divine plan. Jesus teaches us that to understand life's fullness, we must accept both joy and suffering, strength and weakness. The fifth principle is rhythm. Everything flows, out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The tides go in and out, the sun rises and sets, and seasons change in perfect harmony in the natural world. Rhythm is constant, teaching us that everything moves in cycles, and these cycles are a natural part of life. Jesus also spoke about these rhythms in his teachings. He often referred to the divine timing of all things. To everything, there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Just as nature's cycles are unavoidable, Jesus recognized life's rhythms of death and birth, planting and harvesting. He understood that life itself is always moving, guided by divine timing. In the same way, his miracles reflected this flow. Whether it was calming storms or bringing life back, Jesus worked with the natural rhythms of the universe. He knew the importance of moving in harmony with the cycles set by the Creator. Jesus taught that just as life moves in cycles, we also go through ups and downs. But in every challenge's depths, there is the promise of a rise. His words echo this universal truth. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 30, verse 5. The principle of rhythm reminds us to trust in the divine timing of everything, understanding that every moment, every season, every cycle is part of a larger sacred pattern. Just as night follows day, so does healing follow hardship and growth follow loss. The sixth Hermetic principle is cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. In the universe, nothing happens by accident. Every action has a reaction. Every cause has its effect. This teaches that for every seed we plant, there is a harvest, whether good or bad. Jesus shared this timeless wisdom when he said, "Whatever a man sows, that he will also reap." Galatians 6:7. His teachings consistently highlighted the universal truth of consequences. He knew that our actions, words, and even thoughts spread outward, affecting not only our own lives but the world around us. Through stories like the sower, Jesus emphasized the importance of intention and action. The seeds we plant, whether seeds of kindness, love, or selfishness, bear fruit in time. Just as the soil determines the seed's fate, our hearts shape the outcomes of our actions. In every miracle, Jesus showed this principle in action. His healing touch was more than physical. It was spiritual, planting seeds of faith, hope, and forgiveness. The effects were powerful, not only for the individuals healed, but for the entire community around them. Every thought, every word, every action sets off a chain of events often beyond what we can see or understand. Jesus taught us that our choices have both immediate and eternal consequences, shaping not just our lives but the spiritual fabric of the world. The principle of cause and effect reminds us to act with purpose, understanding that the seeds we plant today, whether seeds of kindness or indifference, will inevitably bear fruit tomorrow. For with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. Luke 6:38. As we follow Jesus' example, we learn that even the smallest act of goodness has the power to change the world. Cause and effect is not just a natural law, but a divine principle guiding our spiritual path, encouraging us to live with purpose and intention. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. The universe operates through a delicate balance of forces, both masculine and feminine. This principle teaches that everything in creation has both of these energies, each playing a crucial role in creation and renewal. In Jesus' teachings, we see an understanding and respect for both masculine and feminine qualities. He valued both not as opposites, but as complementary forces that work together smoothly. Jesus' interactions with women, such as his deep respect for Mary Magdalene, show a strong balance of these energies. Mary Magdalene was not just a follower, but an important part of his spiritual mission. In a time when women were often ignored, Jesus uplifted them, recognizing their essential role in God's plan. In her, we see the feminine energy of intuition, compassion, and nurturing wisdom. Just as the sun gives life and the moon guides through the night, both masculine and feminine energies are necessary for balance and creation. Jesus understood this sacred balance, showing both strength and tenderness, justice and mercy. His strength in challenging the temple's corruption and his gentleness in healing the brokenhearted were not conflicting, but in perfect harmony, reflecting the union of these divine principles. The Hermetic principle of gender reminds us that creation itself comes from the combination of masculine and feminine forces. Similarly, Jesus' teachings point to a divine balance that goes beyond gender, inviting us to accept the whole of who we are. As we look to the heavens, we see this balance in all things. In our spiritual path, we are called to recognize both energies within ourselves, to embody the strength of the divine masculine and the nurturing wisdom of the divine feminine. Jesus showed us that the path to divine wisdom and creation is found in the union of these energies. The principle of gender is not about separation, but about unity, coming together in perfect harmony to reflect the Creator's complete design. As we've examined these ancient Hermetic principles, we've seen how they closely match the teachings of Jesus. Though separated by time and tradition, the wisdom of Hermeticism and Christ's message share strong similarities, both pointing to a deeper understanding of the universe and our role in it. Reflecting on these truths, we are encouraged to apply them in our own lives. Can we accept life's rhythms and cycles, trusting in divine timing? Can we plant seeds of love and light, knowing that what we give will return to us? And can we balance masculine and feminine energies, creating harmony within ourselves and in the world around us? Thank you for joining us in exploring the 7 Hermetic principles and their connection to Jesus' teachings. If these ideas have resonated with you, now is the perfect time to continue your exploration.